Take a person, take a story, take you on a journey. It's your take.
On today's Your Take, we discuss toys, collectibles, and nostalgia. We take a trip back in time to your childhood and revive some of your fondest memories. Star Wars, Action Man, Masters of the Universe, Teddy Ruxpin, Real Ghostbusters, WWF Hasbro Wrestlers, and more. My guests today are two respected vintage toy sellers who run a toy shop in the city of Leicester. They've both worked in the toy and collectibles business for many years. Day to day, they uncover people's old toy collections and sell toys from their premises, toy fairs, and online auctions. They also run their own YouTube channel, where they've recently launched their own TV series called Toyshop on Tour. Today, I talked to toy experts Joseph Hand and Gavin Pate. They gave us an insight into the toy selling business, how they've changed and diversified their business during the pandemic, and also tell us about some of their favorite toys and which ones are the most valuable. Good morning. Thanks for joining me this January Friday morning. Good to see you. And a little bit different for your take today. We're in a working toy shop, and we've tended to kind of interview over the course of the last sort of 8-9 months, mainly people sort of from the creative backgrounds, musicians, writers, performers, and so on. So this is almost new territory for us. So thank you kindly.
We're well-respected toy dealers. You just said it. You can't deny that now.
Yeah. Next time it's trying to get money off something. Yeah. Hey, I'll admit we're well-respected.
Yeah, go and watch this.
I want to obviously talk about how you got into collectibles, how the shop came about, but I kind of wanted to kind of state the obvious and go back to the very beginning and kind of just find a bit about both of you, to be honest, your early background. Kind of wanted to ask you both where and when you were born, what are your memories of childhood, and can you just tell us a bit about family life, who your parents were and what they did for a living?
Well, for me, I was born in Leicester, grew up in a little village called Rothley, which is not a million miles from Colville. So obviously, you know, Palitoy was there, and there was a lot of Star Wars kicking around. So from like about 3 or 4 years old, Star Wars in my life, always. Lady up the road, oh, come up and buy some of my Star Wars, you know, off the back of a lorry type stuff. As it was with loads of Palitoy, wasn't it, at that time?
Yeah. Used to arrive these black bags, didn't they, in the pubs and stuff like that many years ago. And your dad would come back with, we hear this story off Leicester people all the time. Like sort of dads would buy them. Friday afternoon Falcons would be bought in the pub on the Friday night.
They'd stayed back making a couple of extra Falcons in the factory.
Yeah, so it was great. So yeah, there's all those sorts of things.
Yeah. So you're Derby.
I'm from Derby. So a bit more. We think of ourselves as slightly more northern, Leicester south to us. So we're proper northern in Derby apparently, but we're not really.
No.
But my mum and dad were a lot older. I was one of 5 kids, and I was the youngest by 21 years. So they were old parents basically, and sadly both departed now. But my dad was a market. He was supervisor of the Eagle Centre Market in Derby.
Yeah.
As such, I got access to all the second-hand toys.
All the toys.
And as my brothers were so much older than me, their toys were from the sort of late 50s, early 60s. So I had this amazing array of toys that I had at my disposal. But yeah. So, and yeah.
It's always been toys.
It's always been toys.
Always toys. I never stopped buying them.
Yeah, I did, but he didn't.
No, I just kept going.
I wanted to move on a bit to both of you with your schooling and find out kind of where you went to school, and were you both kind of naturally academic, and did you go on to further education? And the other thing I wanted to ask you was, did you have any kind of early career aspirations when you were young?
Well, me, I was always quite artistic. As a kid, I wanted to be an animator. Went to a little village school, and yeah, it's like, no, definitely not academic, but art and design. That was always my thing. Went through, and yeah, just kept going with that. Eventually, I trained as a draftsman for years, and I did that for a while, and I was, established draftsman. But I thought, no, I'm going to go off doing my own thing now. And now, yeah, I do my little cult locations.
That's great.
And the retro draftsman came about.
And we benefit from that because Gav's, if you hear my voice is going today, I've got a sore throat. I'm not very well. Done a test. I'm all fine. Don't worry. But yeah, I'm feeling a bit ill. Yeah, we benefit from that as well because Gav sort of has this sort of amazing sideline that he does, and as such, it sort of helps us out because he'll often go, I think I could design this bit better. We could change this
a little bit.
So it's been really good from that point of view.
Oh, well, like hence the logos and things like that. You know,
the logo. We've got another friend that.
Okay.
We've got another friend that he's a designer. He's a graphic designer for Next. He's he's basically all the boys wear that you see in Next, all the kids stuff. Our mate Jay does that. He's also a toy collector. So he did the logo for us many years ago. And yeah, he stood the test of time.
It really has.
You've already mentioned Palitoys and just the love of toys from a young age. And obviously all of us played with toys and we've got such nostalgic memories from kind of childhood. But I kind of wanted to ask you what kind of things you were into when you were growing up and what sorts of things you collected, which children's television shows you watched, cartoons, films.
Well, if you've watched any of the Toyshop on tour or any of our stuff on YouTube, you'll find out that I didn't have a telly when I was a kid for quite a considerable amount of time. So I didn't really watch anything, but my love was based in the toys because I was like an only child, basically. I was kind of spoiled because the others were so much older. So I got these toys all the time. These secondhand toys would come off the market. It was just sort of like a golden time. So you use your imagination, lose yourself. But I think the toy line which Star Wars was always there. But the toy line that really got me was the Adventure People from Fisher Price, and that's something the line that I still collect today.
That's your thing, isn't it?
What about yourself, Gavin?
For me, I mean, it was always Star Wars from the beginning, and like I loved the TV. I was a proper like pop culture junkie kid. I watched everything that I could watch. And, knew all the characters. It was great. My mum, like, because of my interest in Star Wars, my mum knew all the names of like the witch. She'd know Klaatu and Yak Face and everyone, which is unheard of, isn't it? You just don't get that. And even now, she'll throw a name out there and it's like, Mum, how do you remember that? It's incredible.
She doesn't get mixed up with a Zuccosaur Forlom.
Yes, she knows the correct way. So yeah, it was Star Wars. But then, I used to draw monsters all the time and, lots of things like that. So Mad Balls came along and all the gross out toys from the 80s. That's really what I was, my proper love. Star Wars was just kind of a thing you were collecting.
I love playing with my Star Wars figures, but I didn't know who was goodies and who was baddies.
Prune Face is still there.
Yeah, Prune Face I always thought was a baddie, but he's not a goodie.
Yeah.
So there's all that sort of stuff. I knew who Luke was, but that was an R2.
And Vader,
and Chewie. Yeah, I didn't know who Chewie was. But yeah, I didn't know any of the storyline or anything. I think I first watched it when I was about 13, 14 years old. And I loved it.
In a minute, we'll move on because I want to talk specifically about when the shop was formed and kind of how the business has changed over kind of the course of many years, particularly within the last 2 years with the pandemic. But before we kind of talk about that in some detail, I kind of wanted to ask you the obvious question of how did you both meet one another and how did you set up Leicester Vintage in the old toy shop? Did you initially set it up together?
No, it was me that set up the shop. Basically, my wife said, get this stuff out of my house. Because basically we had that thing where I was doing a bit of eBay and I was out all the time buying toys at different places. And my mate kept saying to me, Chris Malvern from Metropolis Toys kept saying, you should get a shop. And my wife agreed, which was amazing. So we were newly married and she just went, yeah, you should get a shop. So I started this little market store that was really cheap. It was so cheap that I couldn't go wrong. And that was an important key to starting it. even if I made a mess of it, it was cheap storage, and it cost me £17 a week.
Can you imagine if you had that now?
But it was like it was above a fish market. It stank of fish all the time. Nobody went in there, but it provided somewhere for me to sort of focus. And I had my Wi-Fi was a little dongle, and it was rubbish. It never worked properly.
Wow.
But I did. You know, I could do one item on eBay every hour or two.
But it was cool though, that little shop. So I used to go in there way back then, before we knew each other. I was just a customer. And then you had the other shops as well before this place.
Yeah.
Were you initially doing that as a sideline? Did you sort of have a full-time job beforehand?
You'll learn that with Joe.
Yeah. When I get an idea, I'll just do it. It's a kind of dangerous thing, and it can lead you to getting your fingers burnt. But it is like a thing of like, you if you're just going to do it, just do it. And that's kind of like, well, I'm sponsored by Nike. No, I'm only joking. So no, I just think it was like, I had to go and do it, and I had to do it properly. And I just put a lot of effort into it, and all my money that I earned, which wasn't much, I put straight back into the business straight away. It was like, I didn't have anything, you know. It was like, we were really struggling financially at the start, but it kind of, because we kept buying all the time, it was good from that point of view, because if you keep buying the stock, people will keep buying the toys. And so that's kind of what I've always done, and it's what I still do today.
Gavin, what kind of made you join with Joe? How did you kind of get together?
What it was, basically,
around like a bad smell.
I like my love of toys. I would come in all the time. And Joe was very rude back then. He was very rude.
I wasn't very rude. It always says this. I wasn't very rude. But once you started coming in more, once you left your proper job, started working for yourself,
I bought my drawings in show,
and then it was like, this guy's really cool, and he was spending like 3 or 4 hours here, like 3 times
just
a week,
hanging out,
just hanging out. We're having a coffee together, laughing and talking. And then it became like it was almost like he was working here as well. It was like a natural progression. All of a sudden, you sort of found him like showing customers in cabinets.
And he was like, oh, we better start paying him.
Right, better start paying him for that then. So that's how it happened.
Yeah. And the beginning of a beautiful working relationship.
Or something like that anyway.
Yeah, well, you know, it's still ironing out the kinks.
Joe, I wanted to ask you, when you established the shop, and kind of how the business has changed over the years.
Well, 2008 was when the actual shop started. I've been selling toys since about 1999, but it wasn't just toys. I was into all things retro. So I drove around an old 2CV, in fact, any number of 2CVs, just constantly changing body panel colour 2CV. And I bought all old furniture, you know, old guitars, musical stuff. I'd buy anything if I thought it was cool and put it in my house. And then I stumbled into toys just through getting my first child was born in 1999. And I thought, oh, toys. And like a lot of us, we think our toys were better, which is sometimes not actually true. It's just we remember them very fondly. And that was the case with me. I just went to this auction and paid £1 for some Star Wars figures, a couple of Action Men. And before you know it, I'd got a couple on eBay. eBay was fairly new, but a bloke at work had told me about it. So I put some stuff on there and off we went. And I made 50 quid out of that £1. And I thought, hello, that's amazing. Do that again. Made lots of mistakes, but it was, it was brilliant. So that's how that was the sort of very start of it. But the 2008 was the shop start, and that's, and then we had a little market stall, and then we moved to a slightly bigger market stall, and we ended up with 3 market stalls, and then we moved to a proper shop.
I wanted to ask you where you come across the toy collections and where you purchase kind of vintage toys and collectibles.
There's this big warehouse that we go to.
Big warehouse,
stacked to the gunnels, full of vintage Star Wars, carded last 17,
all of it.
And we just nip down there.
I'm a big lad, but I can shin around somebody's loft like you would not believe. So that's where it all comes from. It all comes out of garages and lofts, and we've got a good reputation for buying stuff and buying large amounts of stuff as well. We use auctions as well. I won some items from an auction the other day, but not so much. It's generally, we don't use eBay to buy, very, very rarely, and only if it's something very specific, like a part we might need for something. We used a couple of Facebook groups as well. They can be quite good to buy from, but generally it's people walking in saying, what's this worth? And it's the best ones are the little old ladies that walk in with stuff.
Yeah.
And you can like pay for them to go on holiday or something. It's like because they were going to chuck it or present it to a charity shop, and we're giving them like £1,000 for something, and they're like, "Woo!" It's amazing. So that's the nicest thing.
I was gonna ask you, apart from the shop, do you sell your items through other sort of avenues such as toy fairs, a shop website, eBay,
No, we're very
Etsy?
We use eBay a small
Now
amount,
and again.
and we use Facebook. We've got a Facebook group set up, which is the shop's Facebook group, and we sell a bit on that. We're now cutting it down slightly to a sort of seasonal sale, let's say, and then we do, if we get some like the other week we had loads and loads of Lego in, so we did a Lego sale.
Yeah,
but generally we're trying to do one sort of winter, spring, summer, autumn.
And what we tend to do with our actual shop Facebook page, that everyone can get on, we do shop tour galleries, so everyone can see everything we've got in, but it changes all the time, and we get people just calling up saying, "Oh, how much is that? Can you send me some pictures of that?" And we'll sell things that way. And our regular YouTube updates as well. We do a shop tour every few months, and people will look on that and then go, "Oh, you still got that?" And often the case is no, because everybody likes the same sort of things. Tend to work in the same. People tend to like the same things at the same time, don't they? Yeah, it does go in waves, doesn't it?
It does,
trends.
Definitely.
There's definitely trends, even in vintage toys. Weirdly,
You've spoken about kind of the people that come into the shop, collections that you kind of buy from, but I kind of wanted to ask you how difficult it is to come across toys and collectibles in mint condition and at affordable prices where you can sell them at a good profit. And the other thing I kind of wanted to ask as kind of a secondary kind of question is, has the market changed since the pandemic? And is it difficult to compete with sellers who sell without the overheads that you have?
It's easy to compete if you've been doing it a long time, and if you can do things quite simply. If anybody's setting up a shop themselves or doing something like that themselves, keep it simple. Just put an advert out, put it in your local post office, put it anywhere like that that's free, because you don't want to be paying for advertising. Facebook pages, things like that are all free. Utilize them, and people will come forward. It may take a while, but people will come forward with stuff. The market's changed a lot in the last few years.
Definitely, and over the pandemic, everything rocketed up. All the prices rocketed up.
Yeah, definitely. So things are a lot more expensive now. I prefer it back to the way it was before, where it was a bit cheaper for everyone, because it was cheaper for us as well. So yeah, I mean, we do love buying toys is the best thing.
Yeah, that's what's good about doing this.
The most exciting thing that we can do is buy a toy collection. We don't get excited about selling toys. We've got one of our regular customers in at the moment. He's a lovely bloke, but he will clear us out of a certain toy line.
He's eyeing up all the cabinets as we speak.
And I'm like there going, what's he going to buy? Because that's going to cheese me off. Not because you don't want to sell stuff, not because you think, well, I don't need the money, because all those things are true, but because there's that little bit of a collector in you. Because that thing of going, how do I replace it? And you might replace it, but there's very, very few items that we've got in stock right now that we've got two of.
Yeah.
Very few.
And there's only a couple of things that we absolutely won't sell because they're too cool.
Yeah.
The thing I find kind of odd about collectibles, and you said about almost like the values have gone up in recent times, is, for example, you could take a figure like, I don't know, a WWF Hasbro figure in pretty good condition boxed, and that could be worth, you could see somebody maybe selling that for £50 and then somebody trying to sell it for 200. So it almost kind of seems hard to kind of give an item a value. Do you find that difficult? And do you think there are a lot of sellers literally just inflating the price?
We subscribe. We don't want to ever pick on sellers and stuff like that, because it appears,
if you can sell it for that price and someone's willing to buy it,
good luck to you.
Yeah.
Well, we've got things in here that people think are very expensive, but when you look actually on the history and how the market's gone, we use WorthPoint. We subscribe to a service that provides all the auction history for the last sort of 10 years or so. And that means that we've got access to all this information that other people don't see. So if you look at something, you think, well, a mint one of these sold at £700 in 2016. Chances are now it's worth 1,400 quid.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of difference. So chances are now, so where would we price it? We'll probably price it about £1,000. And that's kind of what we do. Is kind of like, well, we don't want to be unreachable, But we also have to respect the fact that we won't find these items again very easily. So therefore, we have to have the prices a little bit higher. But then people will come in. We end up with no end of dealers coming in here to buy a us, to then put on groups, to then sell.
Yeah, sell for more. And we that's cool. We made a little bit on it, and they can go and make their little bit on it. So,
but there is a lot of people that are chancing on, but there always has been. It's not a new thing.
No, not at all. It's just, you can see it more now because of the internet and all the groups and everything. Everyone's aware of it. But as you say, it's been happening all the time. Since pre-internet times.
People would come in though with eBay and they go, I've seen this on eBay for £100, and you go, well, great. That's not what it sold for.
Yeah,
15 quid.
Yeah,
that's what it's worth. You know. So there is that element. So you can use sold listings, use history to provide an accurate or a reasonably accurate price.
Yeah.
But the thing is, with vintage toys, they're all slightly different because all conditions are slightly different.
All conditions and variants. Oh, you don't want to get into that.
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed is that you've kind of diversified and changed the business kind of over the course of the last 2 years during the pandemic, and you do regular Facebook sales, you do auctions, live videos, created your own YouTube video series that we'll talk about shortly. What made you decide to change and expand the business? And have you seen kind of a major increase in sales?
It's all part of a very clever strategy that me and Gav dreamed up one day whilst having a nice coffee over breakfast.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't the case at all.
That went like, oh, shall we do this? Yeah, go on, let's give that a go.
That was exactly how it went.
Yeah.
It's not part of any grandmaster plan. It's not part of anything else. If with everything I do, I want to be able to look back on it and go, that was good, or you had a good go at it.
Yeah.
You know, you gave it your all or whatever. So it's with that in mind, you sort of go, well, let's try and do this and see if it's good. And you know, we think it's been pretty good so far.
Yeah, fortunately. And it has brought a lot of people to the shop as well.
The shop's transformed in 2 years.
Yeah, the whole shop itself is a completely different beast now, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think that's a good philosophy to have. It's almost, don't think about something too much, just go out, do it and get it done. And if it doesn't work, you know, change it, do something different. I think that's a nice philosophy to have, to be honest.
I think when I used to work in car sales for a little while, and I'm not a big head in any way, but I was really good at car sales as long as I liked the car.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't like the car, I couldn't sell the car.
That's very similar with you and toys.
Yeah. It's like I know there's profit in a lot of the stuff that I don't stock, but it doesn't do anything for me. So why do I want it? I don't want it. So it's like, that was how I've always been. And it's just like, I just have to be
sort of there into it.
Yeah.
I've got to be excited about it.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, at the moment with the kind of current toy market, and obviously that changes, particularly with fads, fashions and things kind of coming back into popularity, like for example with the release of, say, the new Ghostbusters film Ghostbusters Afterlife. What items are the most popular and collectible at the moment?
What's the most popular? I mean, Star Wars is always the big thing.
Star Wars is up there, but one of the big money spinners, to be honest with you, that we find in the shop, it's mixed, like bags of figures.
Yeah.
We get these
loose
like
figures.
A figure on its own in a bag, and we put it in a nice Ziploc bag, and it'll be like a Marvel figure or a DC figure. And it's £8 to £10, whereas for a carded equivalent, you're looking at 25, 30 quid. And people really want to get them out there.
Yeah, people want to play with them. And people almost have the guilt taking things out of the boxes nowadays because of the whole, this will be worth a lot in the future thing. Yeah. No one wants to open anything. So here we've got these in the bags. They can just play with them straight away, pose them up, take their Instagram photos. Yeah,
that's exactly what a lot of customers do, because a lot of people are into this toy photography.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Do you find a lot of collectors are specifically looking for items that are still boxed and sealed? And I also wanted to ask your take on the graded market as well. Do you like graded items, and what are your kind of opinions on graded products?
The first part, really, people are different.
Yeah.
So you get some people that want the items out, that want them mint, and you get other people that, because they want to be able to, move them and
play with them. Yeah.
And that, I'm a bit like that. But there's other people that want it absolutely sealed, mint, and they can get it graded, and that's whatever. The grading question, it's up to the thing is, it should
It's
all
on
be
the
fun.
individual. Yeah,
So it's up to everyone to make their own decision.
Yeah.
There's no controversy.
there doesn't need to
People get
be.
the knickers in a twist
Yeah.
about it. Doesn't matter. It's not your stuff. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, if someone wants to
You
come
don't
get it
pay
sealed
it.
in plastic,
Yeah,
wicked. That's for them.
that's for them. And if they don't want to put it in plastic, that's for you as well.
Yeah,
You know, it's just, it doesn't matter. If it's toys, man, it should all be fun.
enjoy it. That's
People
it.
get-
Have fun with it. If you're getting
Yeah.
stressed over your toy collection, what's gone wrong there?
Yeah, people get angry.
Yeah.
They get angry. Oh, toys.
Yeah.
Toys.
What are you doing?
Oh, I love that. Can you tell us about the YouTube channel that you've recently set up? And I want to specifically ask you about the Toy Shop on Tour episodes. How many shops did you visit and where? And do you have any favorite pickups from your travels?
We've had the YouTube channel for
Long
time.
before me.
before, pre-Gav.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how long we've had it. When I was doing it on my own, and you look back at those videos now, you go, ooh. But at the same time, it's been brilliant because it's grown our audience. And the Toy Shop on Tour thing came about because our friend Matt is a brilliant cameraman, brilliant producer, director.
Yeah,
And basically, we have these ideas, and then
that's what happens.
Yeah, we get an idea, and Gav will often go,
Oh no!
"Have you thought about this?" Oh yeah. Oh no, Joe's had another idea.
That's the worst thing to happen. He'll sit in his chair over here. Gav, I've had an idea, and it's either going to be gold or just like the worst thing you've ever heard.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you throw enough mud at the wall. It's one of them. But yeah, the Toy Shop on Tour series has been a real good thing for us. We went to see it's about 32 shops, 33 in the end. I mean, I can't exactly remember. We went from the tip of Scotland, from the mid Scotland, right down to Penzance.
Yeah.
So our furthest point. So we did about 3,000 odd miles.
And there were some amazing shops.
Like,
it really, really was. It was a real eye opener to see how different all the shops were as well, because you expect vintage toy shops are all going to be very similar. But no, all have their own take on it. It's all very different.
And all have different. You'd see stuff repeated, but you wouldn't see loads of stuff repeated.
No.
It was some people were, they had people that bought certain lines more than others. And, if you ask them, it's, I do really well out of turtles. And they'd be like, really?
Yeah.
We don't do very well out of turtles.
Yeah, it's different in different parts
places,
of the world, isn't it? And you get your places on the coast that have the really amazing weird stuff and really hard to get stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's just ended up there on the coast, hasn't it?
A lot of stuff got shipped over to the coast at the end of the lines in the States, so they got shipped over here.
Yeah.
Holiday places took the stuff, and then they're still there now.
Were there any items that you picked up on the journey that were, surprises or really good discoveries, really good finds?
Yeah.
The Black Star gift set that we bought is it's sold now. It's sold. We basically graded it, and it's sold straight away. We graded it to protect it. That's kind of the main reason with that was making sure it was going to be okay, because it's such a rare thing. That was my favourite pickup. It wasn't the cheapest pickup,
no,
but we made some money out of it, and I'm sad it's not here still.
Yeah, it went too quick, that one.
It did, yeah.
Because it got sent off for grading, so it was gone for a few weeks for that.
Yeah.
Then it came back, and I think it sold within a couple of days, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
So we didn't get to enjoy it
within a week.
very long.
What's been the kind of overall reaction to the Toy Shop on Tour TV show? Are you getting many hits at the moment? And the content you produce, are you able to generate sort of any revenue from the channel?
It's been favourable. It's been good response to it.
Very good response generally. There's been you always get this with toys. There's always a few people that go, "Oh, you're making money out of this? Disgusting."
Yeah,
because you're going to people. That's how
any business
business works.
Yeah,
that's capitalism for you.
So there's a little bit like that with people, but generally, very, very good response. Really, really nice comments. Lots of people that feel like they know us, which is lovely. They come in, they go, "Hey,
yeah." People we've never met before. Hey, Gav. Hey, Joe.
Yeah, we're like,
oh
yeah. We don't know who they are, but and that's lovely. I mean, it's lovely that people feel that and that people get to know us, because that's nice.
And it is nice in the shop because you get into some proper conversations, don't you? Yeah. You really do get to meet a lot of people.
And it's great. And the nicest thing has been, it's been families as well. because it's always wanted to be something that's inclusive. So for the real toy geeks, they'll go, well, they didn't feature this enough, or they didn't do this enough. It's not for you.
No,
it's for the people.
It's for everyone
into it. It's for the people that are going to go, actually, my toys are amazing. I want to go and buy toys as well.
Yes.
And I want to go and visit all these shops like Joe and Gav did and buy toys off them.
And lots of people are doing that now. Lots of people are following sort of the path we did and going in all those shops.
And for the proper toy collectors, the bit for you is coming very soon, which is the next thing we're doing, which is our collector focus.
Yes.
It's part of the Toyshop on Tour series, which we start filming in about a week and a half. Well, it's over a week's time.
It is in a week, yeah.
We just start filming that, and that's for the collectors. But we'll try and make it sort of friendly for everyone as well. But that'll be some amazing stuff on that.
Yeah, nice toys.
This might be a difficult question to answer because obviously you've got so many toys and collectibles in the shop. But if you both had to pick 3 of your favorite items in the store, what would they be? And can you give us a little bit of background on them? And
similar items,
exactly the same items.
And
I'll show you one of them.
Okay, and what they'd roughly be worth to a buyer or seller?
We don't know. This is really special.
This is a kid's jacket,
fan club
jacket from
it came
81, 82.
Yeah, and it came from a guy's childhood collection. And this kid loved Star Wars. We had all his little hand-drawn drawings where he'd drawn his TIE fighters and X-Wings battling. And like, I love those little drawings. When you get kids' drawings, because that's the true history of these toys and the time.
It looks like it's never been worn as well. That
I know, it's so clean. That's what it was like. This guy's collection was incredible. It must have been a good kid.
Yeah,
put all his toys away.
Yeah,
didn't bury him in the garden like most people did.
And like I did, yeah, definitely. No, he was a good kid. And we've got that. We've got the C-3PO tape dispenser, which is phenomenal. It's such a cool thing.
It's a ceramic C-3PO kind of straddling a roll of tape. It's very unusual.
Yeah, it's an odd looking thing, but very cool. Yeah, and we've also got basically a Masters of the Universe cuckoo clock, which has got like a miniature Castle Grayskull, and basically Skeletor and He-Man at the top on
pop up on the hour.
So it's amazing. Yeah, so they're the 3 things I think both.
It's definitely the more unusual things that you don't see every day. Like we see, people get excited over a yak face, which is cool because for them they're collectibles.
That's a Star Wars figure right from the end of the line.
Yeah, but for us it's like we see yak face all the time.
Yeah. Sort of like you could see one most days, and there's probably at least 10 for sale on the internet right now that you can buy. Whereas these things, the financial value really is secondary. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I don't know what anything is worth, and in fact, I don't really have any interest in what these things are worth.
No, that jacket especially. Yeah, you couldn't put a price on that.
No, I'm not interested in what it's worth. I'm interested in keeping it, and that's kind of where my interest lies. And it's the same with the things that I collect that are at the shop, which I don't take home. But that's sort of catalogues from back in the day. So trade catalogues from the 70s and 80s, toy trade catalogues. That for me, that's something I'll never sell.
It is the history of it all. Yeah, what was happening at that time.
Can be, like you say as well with collectibles, sometimes it's sentimental value as well, or an item can remind you of a person or a specific moment in your life, a time and a place. And for that reason alone, it kind of almost becomes, like you say, it's, for you, it's kind of priceless, isn't it?
Yeah, I think those memories that people have, it can be smells that set them off. It can be another sense that you kind of go, that takes me back. And there are still things that come into the shop. I mean, very rarely now, which I've not seen before or have not had before, or ones I had as a kid. There's one in particular. It's a Dukes of Hazzard car, and I had it as a kid. I've never found another one like it. It was a knockoff. I know what it is. It's a knockoff of the Dukes of Hazzard car. But it used to fit my little figures in it. I'd probably put anything in them, Adventure People, my Star Wars figures, whatever. But it was a bit bigger. They were too small for it. But it's not the Mego one with the short boot. It's got a really long boot. So it was really like the car, but it was a knockoff one. And I remember that so clearly. But I've never seen one.
Yeah, I can't find one.
You mentioned Star Wars at the beginning of the chat we've had as one of your favorite toy lines. But if you had to name some of the others that kind of stem back from childhood or even maybe toy lines today, which ones would you cite as some of your favorites and why?
It's all the big hitters. I mean, it's like for me, I don't get that excited by wrestlers, but I appreciate the actual figures. I think they're really cool figures.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I look, Thundercats, they're a great line. The Tiger Sharks line that came off the back of that as well is amazing. They're great. They're really hard to get in the UK. Masters of the Universe, all those figures. Interesting, what's going through the Masters of the Universe. I got a big collection in not so long back, and I was at home sorting them out. And my 6-year-old son spent time with me playing with each figure. And I asked him which his favourite one. It was Mosquito. It was the one where you pump blood into his chest.
Yeah.
And so you get that sort of thing of like going, these are really good, because as a kid, I didn't like them. I didn't like them. I was a 3 3/4 guy. I didn't like them, but I've grown to appreciate them as a toy dealer. And it's the same, the Transformers line are definitely 100% in that. I've got big hands. Transformers for me as a kid, I'm a freak. Whereas now, I absolutely love them. One of my favourite toy lines.
But he still breaks them.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Gavin? Any particular toy
Oh
lines?
yeah,
That,
all monsters and stuff. I tell you, what I've really come to love, and to be fair, I've always loved this stuff. Like girl toys from the 80s, toys that were made for girls in the 80s, because we get in trouble for saying girl toys, don't we, nowadays? But yeah, toys that were made for girls in the 80s, like Get Along Gang, things like that, like Care Bears, the little vinyl Care Bears. You had a collection of them.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
She-Ra comes to mind as well. I thought they were quite good figures, in fact.
Yeah, great accessories as well.
Yeah, that was the thing. There was accessories, and you know, you got all those lines. Golden Girls is a good line. Yeah. Like really cool, like lines that were kind of like a bit boy, a bit girly. That kind
you
of
could mix them in, yeah. With
like,
She-Ra, because obviously they went with your He-Man figures. You know,
there were some great toys. I mean, if you look around at the whole, what were those toys? Oh, Strawberry Shortcake as well. And then the different things that were done through those. And there
was lots of smells in the 80s. They were made lots of smelly toys. So strawberry shortcake would smell of strawberries.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
And if you go back even further in doll design, you know, you've got like the Blythe doll.
Oh, yeah.
Which is one of the most gorgeous dolls ever. It's like a Cindy body with a massive head on it.
Head with big eyes.
Big eyes. And then they've got colour changing eyes. They're absolutely... I paid for a holiday. I was on holiday in Cornwall. And I went and bought some, and I got them at a car boot sale. They weren't cheap. They were like 200 odd quid for 2. And I sold them on the internet the next day, and it paid for my entire holiday. So I looked like it.
That's incredible.
My wife was happy with that.
Yeah, she wasn't happy when you bought them, though, was
no,
she?
She wasn't. We spent all our money on these.
Happy with a holiday, but yeah, not spending the money. I was going to ask you. You mentioned about filming more content for the YouTube channel. But what are the future plans with the business? And outside of the toy business, are you collectors? And if so, what kind of things do you collect other than toys?
I think for the business, it's just keep rolling and hope for the best.
Just keep rolling. We're not particularly ambitious. We don't have any plans to be sort of like have more shops and stuff like that.
No, we don't want to be the Leicester Vintage Toy Shop group or anything like that.
No, it's not like that. We're not interested in being like bigger as a shop. We just really want to keep doing what we're doing, keep looking after our customers, keep enjoying. Basically, we come to work to enjoy ourselves. If I'm stuck at home, I love being at home. I love being with my family. If I'm stuck at home there and I hate it, I want to be at work, because this is where I have fun and I'm with my friends. So so I love being at work, and that's the plan. I don't plan to do anything else.
No.
Well, to do things on YouTube and to do things for Toyshop on Tour, yes, that will definitely happen.
Yeah, we'll keep doing that.
We've got season 2 of Toyshop on Tour planned, and we'll start filming. Hopefully, we're hoping May. Start filming that for an autumn release.
But we have the fill-in episodes, the little specials that we're doing in between.
The specials will be out in between it. So we're busy on that front. But as regards the shop, we're quite happy with how things are.
Yeah.
I think that's a lovely philosophy to end on. But before we end, these are the questions we ask all Your Take guests, which are the final 13, we call them kind of quick fire questions. We kind of ask people things they like, things they maybe don't like, and kind of greatest inspirations in life. So here we go, the final 13 questions to you both. We start off with, what is your favorite pastime?
Drawing for me, art.
I love watching basketball. I'm a big basketball fan. I'm also a football supporter. I love playing football. I'm a Derby County supporter, so that's a bit rough at the minute. Hopefully by the time this airs, we might have a buyer, but no, mainly for me, I think it's watching basketball, spending time with my family.
We've obviously talked about toys in some detail, and we've kind of linked them to a lot of film franchises, but if you had to choose a favorite film, what would it be and why?
For me, RoboCop. RoboCop is a perfect movie. You can't fault it.
I'm going to go with my childhood favorite, which is one of my favorites, because I'd only seen it as a kid, like before I lost my TV, before the TV went, which is another story entirely. And then when I got it back, my older sister Penelope, who had learning difficulties, she watched that with me. So I'm going to say, for film, I'm going to say The Railway Children, but the original version.
I like your choice with RoboCop, and another good toy range. I used to love the RoboCop toys. I own quite a few of them. I think I had the police car, and I think you put caps in the back of them.
That's
you?
right.
Yeah.
So you put the caps in the back, and they'd spark up as well. Brilliant.
Always thought it's a shame about the sequels. I never thought the sequels.
No, the second one's okay, but that third one's awful. And that remake, we just don't talk about it.
Less said the better. From films now to books, novels, who would you say is your favorite novelist?
Well, there's a question. I like Bret Easton Ellis, American Psycho. Yeah, good writing, just, and quite nasty but intelligent. Yeah, that for me.
I read quite a bit. I tend to read. I like the last thing I've read, I think, was Bob Mortimer's autobiography, which is glorious. But I think for me, as a kid, it was Enid Blyton and Tolkien. And I think now when you look back, and the Enid Blyton books are dated, but the Tolkien books really haven't. And you like going. So that would be my. If I had to take a book with me on a desert island, that would be my sort of book as regards that. Like a normal book, that would be my book.
Yeah.
If you guys could have chosen a different profession, what would it have been?
I'm kind of at that point where I love what I'm doing now. Because, I'm an artist. That's what I always wanted to be. And then I'm working with vintage toys. It's like, I'm sort of living my best life.
Yes, yeah. I think the only thing, I love classic cars, I love old cars. So for me, that would be tempting. But I think music's always what's drawn me back. So I'm going to go with something to do with music. I like not only the writing, I like arrangements of music, and that's sort of something I could really get into.
Who in life would you say is been your greatest inspiration?
Ooh, that's a tough question, isn't it?
My dad. I'm going to say my dad.
I was going to go on the same thing. Yeah.
So I thought
my dad. Yeah.
Why would you choose your father's? What was it specifically?
For me, my dad. My whole family, but my dad has always been there, like supported everything that I've ever wanted to do, always helped me out along the way, like with designer stuff, just got me sort of where I am, teaching me bits and whatever. Yeah, he's just he great.
Still does now, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he's still he's an amazing bloke. My dad died in 2009, but one of my proudest moments was showing him my little market stall, because my dad came from a market background. That's how he started out. But my dad was a character. Everybody would say, "Oh, Ellenand, oh, what a bloke, what a ledge." Not because he was perfect, not because he wasn't, and he made lots of mistakes. And I saw that, and I kind of go, I can learn from that. But you know what? When it came through down to it, he was always there. It was like one of them blokes that just you could always count on him.
Yeah,
and
counts.
People always remembered him.
We always tend to get the same pick for this one. The guests have always pretty much chosen the same paper. But do you read a newspaper? If so, which one?
I avoid all news. I like to live in my own little bubble. So I don't read any news at all.
I'm really pretentious, so I'm just going to say Le Monde, because basically many years ago when I was single, many years ago, I just used to go to this little coffee bar before coffee bars were a thing, with a copy of Le Monde. I didn't read French, just because it made me look more intelligent than I actually was.
He had it there upside down.
What a pretentious idiot. No, I think I don't really read newspapers either. I keep up with what news I have to through sort of, I suppose.
You get it through your social media,
and stuff
you?
like that, but you can't believe a lot of that. So I'd say I quite like the Guardian. I quite like reading that. There's a good art section in that. And there's a good I'd go with the Guardian. If I had to pick, if there was a newspaper stand and I had to buy one, I'd pick the Guardian.
It's funny you mentioned Le Monde, because I currently work in a shop, and obviously one of the first duties of the day is putting aside all the newspaper copies reserved for people, and it's obviously the usual papers, the Mail, the Guardian, the Times, and so on. And Le Monde the other day turned up on one of them. I was like, "What on earth is Le Monde?" So,
probably me, yeah.
Okay, moving on from newspapers, the press, to food. If you had to pick a favourite food, what would it be?
Oh, I like a dirty barbecue. I was in London over the weekend and went to Dirty Bones off Carnaby Street and had this huge burger with mac and cheese, shredded steak. Oh, it was phenomenal. Really, really nice.
I really like sushi at the moment because I'm on a diet and it's not too bad. But I'm going to go with overall though, it's either going to be Caribbean or Indian food for me. Probably Caribbean. Like I think I'd go Indian for. Like if you had to eat it every day though, Caribbean I'd run out of things I really love. Indian food.
For you on that one. I love Indian food, and the spicier, the hotter, the better for me. I like the hottest on the menu.
Anything that gives you regrets the next day, I think is good. Do you know what I mean? It's that sort of thing again. You've got some form of food hangover. It's terrible.
From food now to cultural icons, who would you choose as your favourite cultural icon?
George Lucas, the creator. George Lucas gets a bad rap these days, and I always stand up for him. He's no director. He can't direct a film to save his life, but he created Star Wars. You know, you wouldn't have any of this now without that man, and that's what I always say. So that is my answer, George Lucas.
American Graffiti was not a bad film.
Exactly, I love American Graffiti. Yeah,
same as English Graffiti. Anyway, I think for me, I'm going to say mine's really obscure. It's a Croatian centre back that used to play for Derby County, and his name is Igor Stimac, and he could speak about, I think it was something like ridiculous, like 7 languages. He was a pop star in his own country. He became a football manager and managed the national team. He was just one of them players that when you saw him play, it was like watching. And for a central defender to be like this as well, he had artistry in the way he played. I loved watching him play football. So yeah, I'd say him.
I reckon they need to make a documentary on him if they haven't already. It sounds quite fascinating.
An Igor Stimac documentary, yeah, that'd be
a man of many guises. Curse words. I was going to ask. Maybe you can't do it because you're trading at the moment. You've got customers in the shop.
I don't swear.
I don't really.
You don't really swear.
No.
I mean,
if you had to choose your favourite curse word, what would it be and why?
I don't really.
No, I don't swear.
Have one.
I don't swear. So for me, it's like, I don't know. I think I'd kind of like opt out of that question. But what I would say is I have lots of expressions. I'm pretty much, there'll be certain things I say like on clockwork. If we're about to do something, I will always do the right. And there are always things that I'll say if something goes wrong. But yeah, not.
And we have sayings in the shop, don't we? But yeah,
but not
swearing.
It's not a thing.
What would you say next is your favourite holiday place or destination?
Oh man, I haven't worked that out yet. I've not been in enough places.
No.
My last holiday, the holiday that surprised me the most was Dubai. That was we were meant to go on a Disney cruise with the family, but my youngest son is poorly. He's only got half a heart and one working lung, and he'd just been through a very big operation. So we said, look, let's not do that because if we get stuck at sea, it's going to get mental. So we basically waited till he was going to be okay and went to Dubai. And I wasn't really looking forward to it. We'd never been, it was a posh holiday for us. We'd normally, Brooklands. But it was a posh holiday for us, but it was absolutely the best holiday that I think we've ever had. That was my favourite place. That was.
I think for me, one place that was really nice, Bruges, because it's a beautiful, beautiful place, and the whole place smells of chocolate. wherever you go, they're making chocolate. Like every other shop is a chocolate shop. And some of the food I ate there as well, pricey, very, very pricey. But I think I had the best steak
you've ever had.
More done about
I don't
that.
know.
I've had some good steaks.
We don't want to get into the steak.
No, let's not get into the
we're both
steak.
a bit sort of on it with this.
We mentioned music a minute ago, and Joe was saying you're a big music fanatic and you've been a musical collector as well. But who would you say is your favorite music artist, and what is your favorite album? If you had to choose one album you'd take on a desert island, what would it be?
Taking on a desert island's hard, man, because you're gonna have to have something varied in there. Yours would be like something.
I'm going in. My favorite album, not my favorite artist, but my absolute favorite album is Madman Across the Water by Elton John. That is like every track on that album is beautiful.
Yeah, it's a good album.
Perfect album.
I'm gonna go with. It's a controversial choice because the bloke's an idiot, but it's a Morrissey album. And it's Vauxhall and I from 1994. That's got a lot of nice memories for me, like things that we did, driving around in a classic car with all my mates, going to the coast, and had that album on repeat, and it's a glorious album. That, but there's so many. He's become a bit of an idiot.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I mean, we've got really varied music taste. That's the thing. It's like, I'd say that, but then Hallelujah by Igor, which is like experimental metal techno.
Yeah. Grace by Jeff Buckley.
Yeah.
Just
If You're Feeling Sinister by Bell and Sebastian.
Oh, great album.
Yeah.
Boy,
And from the albums, if you had to pick one artist, one musician, one performer as your favorite,
I don't think I can do it.
You're gonna have to go with somebody that's got a wide range of stuff. So I'm gonna go with "And You Will Know Us" by the Trail of the Dead as my artist of choice, because you don't expect them to have because of the name of them. You don't expect them to do the tracks they do, and yes, they do like quite full on rock stuff, but they also do some beautiful orchestral tracks. So it's just wide variety. They're a sort of one I go back to. I go back to them again and again.
What about you, Gavin?
I think as an artist, Aphex Twin, I think the man is a genius. He's like a mathematical genius. He must be. So that's the only way he can get them beats.
It's heavy going.
Oh, not all of it. Some of it's really mellow.
Lovely, but a lot of it's hard going.
Yeah, some
even
of it's like, I'm going to be in the mood for that.
So you've set us off now.
Yeah. We could talk about music and artists.
There's so many things, and we're different but quite similar. So we have got albums that really cross over that we both love,
and we're from the same era of music.
I feel the same as you. I'm a big music collector. You can see some of the CDs in the background, and I just find it hard. Like, if I'd have been asked this question when I was 25, I would have chosen the Beatles. Now I don't know. It's so hard to pick one. Probably for me it would be strange choice, but probably Chuck Berry.
Yeah,
all the music kind of
solid.
But you would get fed up with the same.
The same riff.
It's the same riff.
It is over.
Yeah.
From a musical point of view, for me, it's like Chuck Berry's amazing. But you'd be going, I don't know, if you're going to go that genre, that era, you've got to pick someone with a bit more sort of light and shade.
But for me,
Ray Charles.
But if I'm listening,
incredible musician.
I just want to be at that in that time.
Yeah.
You want to be there when that music's happening, don't you? Oh, yeah.
From music now to asking you, what would you say is your greatest achievement to date?
This interview after getting up at 3 o'clock this morning. I'm going to go with that. Greatest achievement today, I don't know. I don't think any of the things that we do are like particular achievements as such, but I'm proud of what we do. So I don't know. I think your children are always kind of like, for me, my kids, and particularly the younger one because he's poorly. I'm watching them. Like my oldest one is doing music at uni and doing really well with that, and seeing him expand his horizons, that's really cool. So yeah, I don't know. It's just, I don't think there's any one answer. It's fluid, man.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sort of happy to be where I've got now. Like I'm selling my artwork for a living, and
getting paid enough here.
And that's the dream, really, as an artist, to be able to, continually sell your artwork, and that's what's paying your bills.
Yeah.
So just enjoying what you do. Everyone should do that. Everyone should set out to do something that they enjoy.
Yeah, and
to make their money. Yeah,
because that's what we're very fortunate. We know that we've got a job that we both love, and we get to go out and make silly films and run around and buy toys and get excited about things. And then Gav has this amazing sideline of his art, and I'm still doing little bits of music every now and then. So you get to enjoy yourself, and that's follow your heart as long as you're sensible. What I'd say to anyone that's sort of thinking about business or what they want to do or something they really love, as long as you don't overstretch yourself at the beginning, you'll be fine.
Wow, it's a special model.
And we can move on to the final question. We get all deep. So, Joe Hand, Gavin Pate, how do you wish to be remembered?
Oh. Mark?
Get the card machine for a customer. That's how I want to be remembered. Getting the card.
Yeah.
He died doing what he loved.
I don't know. Just I don't know.
Several years.
Just as like we are now.
Yeah.
You always, people always. I don't know.
I think it's like one of them things. I think Blackadder sums it up perfectly well. Here lies Joe Hand, and he's blooming annoyed.
We finish up. That's the final question. I'd like to thank you both. It's been a lot different to any of the interviews I've done so far. But the thing I like your philosophy as well. If you want to do something in life and you love something, be sensible, keep it simple, and do it. I kind of like the whole philosophy you've had throughout the interview, and I love what you guys do, and I love your honesty, and I do enjoy watching the videos as well, because I think during the last couple of years with the pandemic, we've all kind of reminisced and we've all become a little bit nostalgic looking back at things like childhood and memories, because we've had more time on our hands. So yeah, it's been a fantastic insight into toys, nostalgia, cartoons, artwork. I've really enjoyed it. So thanks for joining me. And before finishing, I wanted to ask, where do we find out more about the toy shop? Where do we find out more on Facebook, your social media, and also obviously the YouTube channel?
Yeah, you can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, Old Toy Shop on Twitter, although I am rubbish at Twitter, and Matt tends to do it, and occasionally...
Just Google Leicester Vintage Toy Shop, and they're all there at the top.
You'll find us. The name was designed with Google in mind.
Yeah.
We're in Leicester, and it's a vintage toy shop. Although, as one of our Google reviews says, 1 star, old.
Old. And I think that should be the send-off.
Yeah.
Old. There's always one, isn't there? Say no more. Thank you kindly again, and I wish you all the best with everything in the future. And thanks for taking part. It's been great doing it whilst the shop's been trading as well, like hearing what's been going on with the background ambience and so on. But thanks again, and wish you all the best for the future.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
See you again soon.